Welcome to NFL Talk, ready to break down one of the wildest games of the week. Bills versus the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah, this one had it all. Like, edge-of-your-seat stuff, down to the wire. Fans on both sides must have been going crazy.
I'm Liam, and as always, I'm pumped to unpack all the action.
I'm Olivia, and I'm excited to get into it, too. The strategies, the big plays, and that finish, unforgettable.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Orchard Park, New York, Bills territory, the energy is insane, and these two rivals, right, AFC East, they're going head-to-head, and this game has some serious implications for the division.
Yeah, right off the bat, you could tell this wasn't going to be your average game. The lead changed hands, multiple times, especially in the second half. Every single drive felt like it could be a game changer.
You could just feel that tension building play after play, and then bam, the Dolphins tied up with a touchdown last minute. Talk about a heart attack moment for Bills fans.
Right. And that's when things got really interesting. 5 seconds left, the game's on the line, and Tyler Bass, the Bills kicker, he steps up for a 61-yard field goal attempt. Now, this wasn't just any field goal. This was a potential franchise record for the Bills.
Yeah, I bet everybody watching was holding their breath.
Yeah.
I mean, Bass, he'd been kind of inconsistent this season, right? Even questions about his job. This was a huge moment for him.
It really was. And you know what? It shows you something about Coach McDermott, too, right? He stuck with Bass.
Yeah.
Through the ups and downs. And that faith paid off big time. When Bass nailed that kick, sending the Bills to a 30-27 victory, you could see the relief, the joy on both their faces.
Man, what a way to get their 6th straight win over the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I mean, this just puts them right there, the team to beat in the AFC East.
No question. Statement win. But we got to talk about Josh Allen, right? Shaky start, but he comes alive in the second half. 3 touchdowns, some unbelievable throws. That's the Josh Allen we know.
Talk about resilience, right? He can shake off those mistakes and lead his team to victory, even with all that pressure. And on the other side, Tua Tagovailoa making his comeback after that concussion. And he did not disappoint.
He did not. 25 of 28 passes, 231 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Those are some stats. He even led them on that game-tying drive at the end. Despite the loss, I think we saw a glimpse of what Tua can do.
Absolutely. Confident, decisive, smart plays, connecting with receivers. Really positive for the Dolphins, something to keep an eye on.
This game, back and forth the whole time, down to those last seconds. Insane. First, the Dolphins tie it up with that last-minute touchdown. Then the Bills drive down the field, and gotta say, there were a few penalties that helped them out. That roughing the passer call on Jordan Poyer against his old team. And that's what sets up Bass for that game-winning kick.
A total roller coaster. And even though the Dolphins lost, they had some players who really stood out.
Oh, for sure. Devon Achane, he was a threat. Making plays, running, and catching the ball. He ends up with 12 rushes for 63 yards and a touchdown, and then 8 catches for 58 yards and another score. That's versatility. And then Tyreek Hill, right, bounces back with a solid 80 receiving yards.
And on the Bills side, Khalil Shakir really stepped up. 6 catches for 50 yards.
Yeah, both teams had some players who rose to the occasion. Those high-pressure moments, thinking back on the game, there are a few moments that really stand out, right? Like turning points, you go back to that interception in the first half. Talk about a momentum shift.
Oh, yeah, that was a gutsy play by Allen.
Yeah.
Trying to make something happen in the red zone. But the Dolphins' defense, they read him perfectly, all over it.
And the Dolphins, they didn't waste any time. They took that turnover and boom, marched right down the field, 7 points. You could see it on the Bills' sideline, that energy just draining away.
It really felt like early on, the Bills' offense, they were struggling to find their rhythm. A couple of drives that looked promising. They had to settle for field goals. You could see the frustration building.
But that's the thing about Josh Allen. He adjusts. He can shake off those early mistakes and come back even stronger.
And he did. That 63-yard touchdown pass to Ray Davis in the third quarter, what a play. Like a bolt of lightning out of nowhere.
Davis, man, his speed, his agility, turning that short catch into a highlight reel touchdown, game changer for sure. The whole stadium erupted. And for the Bills, total re-energized.
It was like flipping a switch. Suddenly they're back in control. And then, of course, Allen and Quentin Morris connecting in the end zone. Another touchdown.
Gutsy throw by Allen, too. Tackled by 2 defenders, and he delivers that perfect pass. He wanted that play. Real leadership, performing under pressure.
Clutch plays, right. We can't forget about Bass, that game-winning field goal. Nerves of steel to make a kick like that, especially after the season he's had, ups and downs.
Career-defining moment, no doubt. Silenced all the doubters. Proved his worth. And Coach McDermott, gotta give him credit, having that confidence in Bass to send him out for that 61-yarder.
So let's talk about the Dolphins. They came up short, but Tua's return, huge bright spot.
Absolutely. Coming back from a concussion, he looked sharp, decisive, accurate throws, spreading the ball around. He was in command.
His connection with Jalen Waddle was something else. That late touchdown to tie the game, what a throw, what a catch.
Waddle, his speed, those routes, nightmare for any defense.
And Devon Achane, wow, electric, making plays on the ground, through the air.
He adds a whole other dimension to their offense, that versatility, playmaker. We're going to see a lot more from him.
It's clear the Dolphins are still searching for that consistency, but they have some exciting pieces. If they can put it all together, they're going to be a tough team to beat.
Before we wrap up this part, I want to touch on some of those coaching decisions, the strategy, that really shaped the game. Bills in the second half, that aggressive play calling, opening up the playbook, taking chances downfield.
It was a risk, but it worked. They have so much talent on offense. Allen's arm, those receivers, they exploited some weaknesses in the Dolphins secondary.
The Dolphins, on the other hand, they struggled to get to Allen. Couldn't generate that consistent pass rush. Gave him too much time to find his receivers.
Yeah, got to address that. If they want to compete at the top, pressure on the quarterback is everything.
Another thing I noticed, the Bills, they really leaned on the passing game. Running game wasn't as effective. Allen had to do a lot of the heavy lifting.
He showed he can carry the offense, but you're right. Balance is going to be key. Can't win it all relying just on the passing game.
Exactly. We've covered a lot here, from the big plays to the strategy. Still more to unpack, though. In the final part, we'll finish up this deep dive with some, bigger takeaways. Look ahead to what's next for these two teams.
Okay, so we've gone over the big plays, the strategy, but what's it all mean? Big picture.
Well, for the Bills, this is huge.
Right.
Really puts them in that top contender spot, right? AFC. Top of the AFC East. And Josh Allen playing like this. Threat to any team in the league.
They showed what they're made of, that resilience, pulling out the win even when it wasn't pretty, battling back, making those big plays when it mattered. That's what champions do.
The Dolphins, though, great effort. Some players really stepped up, but they're still figuring things out, Tua coming back was a good sign, but that consistency, both sides of the ball, they got to find it if they want to make a real playoff run.
This loss, it extends that losing streak, falling behind in the division. The talent's there, but they got to put it all together, week after week, for a whole game.
It's early. Don't hit the panic button yet, but they need some wins. Got to keep those playoff hopes alive. AFC East is tough. Can't fall too far behind.
So where do they go from here? The Bills, they're looking at a Super Bowl run. Got to build on this, keep that momentum going. Some things to work on, like that balance on offense. But right now, their confidence is through the roof.
Dolphins, time to regroup, refocus. Saw some good things, but got to cut out those mistakes. Learn from this loss. Use it as fuel going forward.
This game, man, classic NFL. You just never know what's going to happen. The excitement, the drama, the highs, the lows. That's why we love it.
Can't wait to see what happens next for these two teams. What changes do they make? How do they respond? We'll be watching.
All right, that wraps up our deep dive on this crazy Bills-Dolphins matchup. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe learned something along the way.
Keep those helmets shiny and stay ready for more.
Goodbye, and see you in the next video.